Hey everyone, ready for another deep dive?
Always.
Awesome. So today we're tackling this list that's been making the rounds.
Oh yeah, I've seen that one.
Yeah. 10 things the rich do that poor people don't.
It's definitely attention grabbing.
For sure. For sure. And look, before we get into it, we gotta say,
Of course.
we are not here to endorse stereotypes.
Absolutely not. This is about exploring ideas.
Exactly. What can we learn from these points? Even if we aren't, striving to be like super rich.
Right. It's about those habits, those mindsets.
That might contribute to success.
Yeah, financial or even just generally.
Right. So let's jump right in. The first one that really jumped out at me
Okay.
was this idea that the rich, they kind of focus on the long game. While maybe folks who are struggling financially, they get caught in that like short-term scramble.
Makes sense, right?
Yeah, totally. It's like delayed gratification and all that.
It is, but how do you actually put that into practice?
Exactly. Like giving up my daily latte to buy a yacht in like 20 years doesn't really compute for me.
Yeah, I hear you. It's not about deprivation though. It's more about having a plan.
Okay, so like what does that actually look like?
Well, think about it like this. You've got your big goal, right? Financial independence, let's say.
Yeah.
But instead of it being this vague idea of being rich, you gotta break it down.
Okay.
What does financial independence actually look like for you? How much money do you need? When do you want to achieve it by?
I like that. More concrete.
Right. And then you work backward. What are those smaller steps you can take each month, each week, even each day to move towards that goal?
So like maybe that latte money turns into micro investments or taking a class to boost your skills.
Exactly. Or networking events.
Oh yeah, good one.
Each choice you make becomes like this little piece of the puzzle.
It's actually a really helpful way to look at it.
Glad to hear it.
Okay, so that kind of leads into the next point, which is this whole idea of investing in yourself.
Yes.
But it's not just about like stocks and bonds, right?
This is about you, your personal value.
Ooh.
Think skills, knowledge, even your health.
Okay, so give me some examples.
Okay, so instead of just learning to code, which everyone's doing these days, maybe you specialize in something like cybersecurity or AI.
Right, niche down.
Exactly.
Right.
Or you invest in a good fitness program, which, yeah, it costs money up front, but it can boost your productivity, maybe even save you money on healthcare later.
Makes sense. Makes sense.
Or building a strong network.
Oh yeah, that's huge.
Right. That can open doors that a regular job application just wouldn't.
Totally.
Right.
So it's like these are investments that they pay off in multiple ways.
Right. It's not just about money. It's about opportunity, your well-being, your future.
That's a really cool way to think about it.
I think so too.
And it's not even always about spending money. It's about investing your time and energy in the right places.
Absolutely. Focusing on what really matters.
Okay, so then there's this whole thing about mentorship.
Ah, yes. The classic find a mentor advice.
Yeah, but how do you actually do that?
Yeah.
Especially if you're not already in those successful circles.
You're right. It can feel kind of out of reach.
Like, how do I just walk up to a CEO and be like, hey, be my mentor?
Not quite. It doesn't have to be that formal though.
Okay.
Think about it this way. Identify people you admire.
Okay.
Study their paths. Today, we have so much access to information, online communities, podcasts, books. It's like having virtual mentors right at your fingertips.
Oh, I like that.
Look for patterns in their stories, the skills they emphasize, the risks they took.
Yeah, and then apply those lessons to your own journey.
Exactly. It's about being resourceful.
So you're saying like even reading a biography of someone you admire could be a form of mentorship.
Totally. It's about absorbing wisdom wherever you can find it.
That's really cool. I never thought of it that way.
It makes it a lot more accessible. Right.
Absolutely. Okay, so moving on. This next one is a little bit, I don't know, it's kind of vague.
Which one?
Like having a growth mindset, believing in your potential.
Yeah, that whole power of positive thinking thing.
Yeah, exactly. Does that really like move the needle financially?
Yeah. It's not about magical thinking. It's about how you approach challenges.
Okay.
So think about it. When you hit a setback, do you see it as like proof that you'll never succeed? Or do you see it as an opportunity to learn and grow? A growth mindset helps you bounce back. You learn from mistakes. You become more resilient.
So it's not about ignoring the negative.
Yeah.
It's about how you react to it.
Exactly. And that can be incredibly powerful when it comes to finances.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay, this next one seems kind of contradictory.
Oh.
It says, the rich focus on earning, not saving.
I see where you're going with that.
But isn't saving, like, crucial?
It absolutely is. Don't get me wrong. Emergency funds budgeting, that's all essential. But this point is more about shifting your mindset from scarcity to abundance.
Okay.
Instead of just focusing on cutting costs, what if you also focused on expanding your earning potential? Side hustles, investments, negotiating a raise.
Yeah.
It's about being proactive, generating more income, not just protecting what you have.
So it's like playing offense, not just defense with your money.
Yes.
That's a good analogy. I like that. Okay, so speaking of being proactive, there's also this idea of embracing calculated risks.
Yes. Calculated being the key word.
Right, because if you're too afraid to step outside your comfort zone, you might miss out on big opportunities.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's not about being reckless, though.
Yeah, for sure. So how do you know when a risk is worth taking?
Well, successful people, they assess the opportunity. What's the potential upside? What could go wrong? And how can I minimize that risk?
So it's like a cost-benefit analysis.
Kinda. Think of it like a venture capitalist. They don't just invest in anything. They choose ventures with a calculated balance of risk and potential reward.
Makes sense. So it's about being informed and strategic, not just like blindly leaping into the unknown.
Exactly. Informed decision-making is key.
I'm starting to see a pattern here.
Oh, yeah.
Like a lot of these points, they're all connected.
They are.
It's not just about like specific actions. It's about a certain way of thinking and approaching the world.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
Okay, so then there's this point about constant learning.
Lifelong learning is crucial.
Especially these days, right? Like technology's changing so fast.
Absolutely. Skills can become obsolete in the blink of an eye.
Yeah, you can't just rely on what you learned in school anymore.
Nope. You got to keep updating your knowledge base.
So like, how do you actually do that?
It's different for everyone, but it could be reading industry reports, taking online courses, attending conferences.
Right, just constantly exposing yourself to new ideas and information.
Yeah. Successful people, they're always learning. They're like sponges.
Yeah, it's such a good visual.
It keeps them flexible, adaptable. They can pivot when industries shift or new opportunities arise.
So it's like being a lifelong student of the world.
I like that. A lifelong student.
Okay, and this one really resonated with me. The rich, they're problem solvers.
I love that one.
Yeah, instead of complaining about obstacles, they see them as like puzzles to be solved.
Exactly. It's a mindset shift.
So like instead of saying, oh, this is impossible, you say, okay, how can I make this work?
Right. It's about being resourceful and creative.
That's so powerful.
Yeah.
And it applies to so much more than just finances.
Absolutely. It's a life skill.
Okay, and the final point on this list, it's something we've kind of touched on throughout our conversation.
What's that?
The rich, they value their time.
Ah, yes. Time is the one resource we can't get more of.
So true. And yet it's so easy to waste it.
It really is. But successful people, they understand that time is their most valuable asset.
So how do they protect it?
They're meticulous about how they spend it. They prioritize tasks ruthlessly. They delegate whenever possible.
So it's about being intentional with your time.
Exactly. They focus on high-impact activities, things that align with their goals.
Whether that's building a business or spending quality time with their families.
Precisely. It's all about making conscious choices.
Wow, that was a lot. We covered so much ground.
We did. It's a fascinating topic.
So what are the big takeaways here for our listeners who are like, okay, great information, but now what?
Right. Well, first of all, remember, this list is just one perspective.
Yeah.
Financial success is complex. There's no magic formula.
Right? It's different for everyone.
But what we can learn from these points are valuable insights into the habits and mindsets that can help us reach our goals.
Yeah, that's a good point.
So I'd ask you this. Which of these principles really resonated with you?
Good question.
And what's one small shift you could make in your own life starting today to align yourself with that principle? It doesn't have to be a huge overhaul. Even small, consistent changes, they can add up over time.
That's some really great food for thought.
I hope so. It's all about taking action.
Well said. So listeners, that's our deep dive for today. Time to take these ideas and see how they fit into your own journey.
Best of luck out there.
And we'll be back next time with another deep dive into the world of fascinating ideas.
Can't wait.
See you then.
Yeah.